Right.
Okay. Gary had an incident last week where somebody thought because he was wearing a Moxie shirt that he's actually associated with the track in an official position. Not true.
Nope.
Nothing you're going to say to Gary is going to make a difference on anything because he is there to do a job, and that's all he was doing. I'll leave it at that.
Now, I had a guy come up to me. I was standing down by the flag stand, and he come up to me arguing about one of the flags that was thrown or something. He said something, I need to talk to you. I just don't think that call you made was right. And I said, excuse me? Well, you're the flag. I said, no, I'm not.
I'm not even in the flag that wears a yellow and purple shirt.
Yeah.
Mine's white and
Mine's
blue.
white and blue here. Isn't
Yeah.
it? No, I don't have anything to do with this. I'm with Moxie. And the guy goes, you look official.
That's
whatever.
When you wear a shirt like that, that's the bad part.
I say we just start wearing cutoff T-shirts.
I'm down.
No, sorry, bud.
No.
Sure.
We have to look professional.
That's professional for the 80s.
No.
For the 80s, maybe.
I want to know where Roy Bain's car was. Roy is one of the guys that listens to our show on a regular basis. He follows us on Moxie Mere Promotions Facebook page, and I did not see his machine there. I'm kind of curious as to why. I'm sure he'll hit us up on the chat line. We've got late models coming back this Saturday. We've got a big race coming back. Okay, I got you. All right. So this Saturday night is, I want to say, Willamette Valley Bank Night at Southern Oregon Speedway. Got a good card. We've got a good card scheduled for the fans. I'm going to get into my notes here. We've got... I get pumped on late models. Everybody knows my passion for late models. Okay, I'm not going to go out of my way to make a big deal about it, but we've got those. We also have the IMCA Modifieds.
Yep.
Great division at Southern Oregon.
I'm glad
Speedway.
they're back.
I am too. Kendall Oil Wing Sprint Cars.
I always like those. I'm the sprint car guy. Corey's the late model guy, but I like the sprint car. The sprint cars.
Sprint cars.
The sprint cars, because that's what you're going to end up if you drive them long enough.
No kidding, yeah. So we've got the mods. We've got the Kendall Oil Wing Sprint Cars, late models, sport mods, and the Southern Oregon Dwarf Cars.
Yep.
Southern Oregon Dwarf Cars.
Oh, if they put on a show like they did a
See,
couple of weeks
you know what's
ago.
funny about this? Here's what's funny about the say Dwarf Cars. Ed says, yep. Ed wants a dwarf car so bad now.
And the one's right next door.
He's got one that lives next door to him, too, and he's like,
That's for sale.
Yeah, I know it.
No, it's
Oh,
even
yeah, and I
worse.
want to, and it's a good
Can you
car.
trade some doors for it?
Oh,
Some custom made.
I don't know. I wish there was something I could trade him for.
Special
I'll have to go
doors.
talk to Mikey.
He wants that. He wants a dwarf car.
It's a good-looking car.
It is.
Oh.
That
It's a fast car.
But I'll tell you, those dwarf cars at Southern Oregon, they're little.
Yeah,
And I got
they
a
are.
trailer.
I'm just wondering how we can navigate the drone while you're behind the wheel.
I'm pretty sure it's
I guess you could probably
He's
do
like,
it.
I
You could
only
do
need
steering
one
wheel
hand.
controls for the
Yeah,
drone,
that's right.
right?
I could put thumb pedals
There you
on
go.
it.
Yeah,
He just puts the
Problem
wand.
solved.
Just puts the wand in the car and it'll
Yeah,
Yeah,
follow.
I put the
Follows
wand
it.
in my pocket. It'll just follow me.
Okay, there you
Yeah.
go.
You know,
There you go.
Yeah,
as long as you guys don't tell Lori that I'm driving. Gary, I got the trailer. All we'd have to do is go over to Mikey's and pick that puppy up, load it up in the trailer, and we'd be at Southern Oregon Saturday night.
Sounds like a plan.
He needs a driver for Saturday. doesn't
Look
he?
at him. Look at him.
I know.
He's
I know.
seriously thinking.
You
man,
don't think I'd get in that car and drive it?
I know
I
you
Listen,
get
think
in that
you
if
car.
can
you
car
need a
drive it.
place to hide the car from your wife, not here.
There's space out here.
Hey, I could tell it. Well, you know, honey, I just bought a new airplane.
And it's about the same. The
Yeah.
airplanes you buy.
I could sell the plane that's in my trailer right now, and go buy Mikey's,
Well,
and have have
Looks
money
like
left
you-
over for gas.
I just say you do it and
thought
run the
about it.
indoor.
Yep.
There you go. You could run both.
Yep,
And
I got a 17-foot enclosed trailer.
So he's ready to go. He's got a
I'm
dwarf
ready.
car.
It's got a ramp. It's got the ramp on the back.
Oh,
There you
man.
This Saturday night. that's gonna be-
Generators.
How
air
many?
compressors, tools?
So we got the Kendall Oil Wing Sprint cars coming back.
Yep.
How many winners have we seen in this division this year?
One. In the mains, one.
2.
Wheeler Dealer.
2.
2.
2. Okay. Wheeler
Wheeler's
Dealer.
got
3.
3 in a row. Tanner Holmes won the first race of the
Yeah,
year.
that's right.
Yep.
But anyway, Wheeler Dealer. And you know, I told you last week why I call him Wheeler Dealer. Because he's going to deal you a hand that you're not going to want.
So far in the last 4 races, he's done that. Yeah. How many late model winners have we had at Southern Oregon Speedway this year? They've been on the card. We've been on the card. We had a rain out, but we had 4 races. And in those 4 races, how many winners have we had?
I'd say 2.
2. Okay.
2.
It says 2.
Yeah.
Maybe it was 3 though.
We do not have a repeat winner yet.
Really?
4 races, 4 different winners. Preston Luckman won the opener. Bobby Hogue, Trent Elliott, Darren Koffel.
That's
There we
right.
go,
That's
yep.
right.
Those are our 4 different winners we've had. Okay.
You know, this season is going fast.
Mm-hmm.
IMCA Modifieds, Southern Oregon Speedway. We've seen this division 4 times. How many winners have we seen in those 4 races?
Don't ask me. How
Gary's-
many races?
Gary's right.
4 races?
4
different
races,
winners.
4 different winners. Jeffrey Hudson won the opening race. Bobby Hogue, when he swept the night that night with late models on July 1st. He won the late models and the modifieds. June 15th, Jesse Bailey was our winner. And the Speed Week race was Colin Weinberger.
Roy Blaine just popped in and said he didn't get ready in time. He was in Stockton running a tri-state show.
Okay.
So that's his excuse, so
Okay.
we'll let him.
We'll let it
him
slide this time, Bane, but not again. Not again. IMCA Sport Mod's coming back this Saturday night. 4 races. How many winners have we had?
I don't know. How many flights I got on my drone? I could tell you, but not this.
We've had 3 different winners in
3.
the Sport Mods.
3.
Gary said 4. Matt Sanders won the opening race. Jordan Broughton went back-to-back on June 1st and June 15th. And June 22nd was Isaac Sanders. So the Sanders brothers and Jordan Broughton are our 2 winners. 3 winners in that division.
But you know, it's ever since we've been down there, ever since practice, you know, we've been at every race since practice.
Mm-hmm.
Every one of the races are fantastic.
Yeah, they are. Well, and especially with the Sport Mods.
And the track is getting better. And better.
Now I gotta.
Yes.
Okay,
And
I'm
better.
glad you said this because everybody's got their idea of what a perfect racetrack is or should be.
Depends on
Okay.
the car you're driving, too.
Well, and it depends on what you like
Yeah.
as a driver, promoter, owner, fan. That's a big difference. You know, some people like them hooked up racetracks with a lot of moisture. Some people like it super slick, super smooth. Last Saturday night, we saw a track that very little dust, super, super smooth, glass,
And launching off
and
turn
looked
2
like glass.
like rockets.
Hmm.
Took a little rubber, but it was still slick. I thought it was a perfect racetrack.
I did too.
I thought it was a perfect racetrack.
In my opinion, I would say it was a perfect racetrack.
Yeah. And you know when I judge a racetrack, you know, not as a driver. I know what it's like to judge a racetrack as a driver. You know what you want. You know what you're comfortable with.
Yep.
You know what you feel through your butt. You know, because you drive with your butt a lot.
You do.
But the way I look at it, I don't just look at one car. And I look at different areas of the racetrack, through the corners, coming off the corners, down the straightaways, and I see where the cars are accelerating. Either they're coming off the corner or they ain't coming off the corner. Are they pushing through the turns and they're not pushing through the turns, or they can
Are they getting
hang it
upset
out.
going in on entry and coming out? Or,
Yeah.
You know,
And I look at the attitude of the cars, and I'm talking, you know, when I say attitude, the shape of the car going through the corner, you can tell if that car is hooked up or not. And the way it launches off of 2 or 3 or, you know, coming off of 4, especially, but 2 the other night was phenomenal.
Oh, man.
I mean, it looked
2
like
was
they
great.
wasn't going anywhere, but all of a sudden they would just take off.
So last Saturday, we had what I would say was 3 very good grooves. You had a bottom, a middle, and a top.
There you go.
And you don't get number one. You don't get any better than that.
Nope.
When there's drivers
Running
in
three
multiple
wide.
grooves running 3 wide, and they're all fast. I mean, I thought it was absolutely phenomenal. There was a couple guys I talked to that thought it could have been better. It's not their style of racetrack. I'm not going to throw them under the bus, but I thought, my goodness, how could you say that was that was a great racetrack.
I couldn't imagine saying that wasn't a good racetrack.
They didn't say it wasn't good. Here's the words that no, that's not even what they said. Here's what they said, and it I looked at him and I just kind of smiled and said,
Okay.
Oh. But okay, so here was, and you're gonna know where I'm going with this as soon as I say it. We were talking about track conditions. I'm complimenting them on how great the track was, right? It was good, but it's just not what we like.
So
okay, wait a second.
So what?
Wait a second. It's just not what we like.
what is that?
Here's what I think matters the most. It's what those guys in the pit area like. And they were ecstatic about that track.
Yeah.
Did anybody hear any complaints about track conditions? And I thought, this is a perfect racetrack. Yeah, but it's just not what we like. I get that. I know what type of racetrack they like. And it wasn't that type of racetrack. But man, did that track create some phenomenal racing. Phenomenal. Glass smooth top to bottom, hooked up all the way around, 3 lanes, 3 good racing grooves.
You can't complain about a track like that.
Nothing. No dust.
Well, look at the difference in the
very
track.
very little dust.
Yeah, it was very little. But you look at the difference between the heat races. I mean, even starting out with, with the trophy dashes.
It was a little
And then
dusty in the
heats.
beginning.
It was, but once they hit water on that track,
Yep.
and right before the features.
Yep.
And that's what they didn't like, was that they had to do that.
Yep.
Right.
Okay. I understand you don't want to ever stop the show to put water on. I mean, ultimately you don't. A lot of tracks do it. Sometimes you have to, dust control, whatever the case may be. I don't think it was that bad when they put the water down. I know why they put the water down.
I do too. I was eating dust up on top.
But see, it didn't look that dusty
Nope,
at
but it
that
was.
point. Okay. But if you look at when they put that water down and what it did through the features, phenomenal racetrack.
But the racetrack took it in a heartbeat. When they put the water down,
they started putting rubber down on the track, starting with the Hornets.
I know it.
And then that track just broke itself right in. There was Hornets running 3 wide.
Yep. Yeah, that was.
They were going all the way up to the top.
Yes,
so
they
now
were.
We're working this track, right?
they're up there in the marbles, for God's sake.
You get the minis out there, all of a sudden now they're working the track over with their little wider tires.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then it just kept going from there. And now you got 3 good, perfect lines around that track.
I'll tell you, track prep, I thought was absolutely phenomenal. I mean, as a race fan, everybody likes those hooked up. I think, as a race fan, if you're going to watch a race on a hooked up, badass, fast, sticky, gooey, horsepower type track, that's great for a trophy dash. I mean, the 4 fastest cars, if you do a qualifying program, 4 fastest cars for 4 laps. That's the ultimate excitement. Trophy dashes are my favorite race of the night. Okay. More often than not, they're my favorite race of the night, depending on how your format is. Okay. Now, as a driver, tell me how many drivers you know that like that thick, gooey, hooked up horsepower tracks. I can name 4 or 5, but I can tell you 60 that want that track slick and smooth. This is why this is my personal why I think I like the slick, smooth tracks. Okay. Been in this game a long time in a lot of different aspects. Worked on the cars, crew chief on the cars, built cars, fan in the stands, announcer, okay? All those perspectives all together. I'm one of those guys that's going to say, hey, listen, give that track the slick, smooth treatment. This is why. This is why I say this. As a race fan, watching a track on a slick, smooth surface. Number one, you're going to see